The Galactic Council Chamber was the largest structure ever built in the known galaxy. It floated in the heart of the Orion Nebula, a colossal ring of black metal and crystal spires. Thousands of alien species filled the tiered seats that surrounded the central platform. Their voices blended into a constant roar of hisses, clicks, guttural growls, and strange musical tones. At the center of the chamber, a glowing hologram spun slowly. It showed a small blue and green world, Earth. On a narrow bridge beneath the hologram, one lone human stood. Admiral Elias Kane, Earth's highest representative, was dressed in a crisp black uniform with silver markings. His jaw was tight, his fists clenched at his sides, but his face remained calm. Above him towered the council leaders. The most powerful of them all, High Lord Zirath, was a monstrous reptilian alien with thick black scales and eyes like burning gold. His four clawed arms gripped the edge of his throne as he leaned forward. When he spoke, his deep voice shook the chamber. "Humans are weak, soft creatures born on a fragile world," Zirath declared. His words were translated into every language through the chamber's systems. "The vote is simple. Earth will be divided. Its people will be put to work. The humans will serve the Union as slaves, or they will be erased." A wave of laughter rolled through the chamber. Dozens of alien delegates made mocking gestures toward Kane. A jellyfish-like being pulsed with glowing lights as it buzzed, "The primates should be grateful we are merciful. Their sun is barely worth the energy to burn it." Kane's voice was steady, but beneath his calm tone was iron. "Humanity only seeks peace. We have no wish for war, only to join the Union as equals. But if you try to enslave us, you will regret it." The laughter grew louder. An insectoid delegate snapped its pincers. "Regret? You dare threaten the council? What can your kind do? Throw stones at our fleets?" Zirath rose to his full height, towering over everyone. His scales shimmered as he spread his forearms wide. "Enough, the humans are nothing. Their weapons are primitive. Their ships are toys. Their world will burn like so many before it." Kane took one slow step forward. He knew he was surrounded by enemies. He knew humanity's survival depended on what he said next. "You underestimate us," he said softly, his eyes narrowing. "That is a mistake you will not live to repeat." For a brief moment, silence fell. Even the translators seemed to hesitate. Then, as if on cue, the chamber erupted with mocking laughter once more. Alien voices filled the air with derision. Zirath pointed one massive claw directly at Kane. "You have no power here. The council votes now." A glowing circle appeared in the air above the chamber. Green lights signaled a vote for enslavement. Red lights meant mercy. One by one, the votes lit up. Green, green, green. The ring filled quickly until there was only one solid color. The decision was final. Zirath's mouth curled into what might have been a smile. "The verdict is clear. Earth will be seized. The humans will kneel." Kane's chest tightened. His people were thousands of light years away. They had no allies, no hope. At least, that was what the council believed. He raised his chin, his voice steady. "You think we are helpless? That we are weak? But strength is not measured by the size of a fleet or the sharpness of a claw. Strength is measured by the will to fight for survival. And humanity will fight." The chamber erupted into chaos. Some alien leaders jeered. Others hissed in fury. Zirath slammed his clawed fist against the floor. "Remove him!" Armed guards moved toward Kane. He did not resist. He turned and walked calmly between them, his back straight. But as he left the chamber, his communicator buzzed silently against his wrist. A single coded message flashed on its tiny screen. "Phase 1 complete. Firestorm fleet standing by." Kane's lips tightened into the ghost of a smile. The council had no idea what Earth had prepared. Far away, on the edge of the Sol system, deep in the cold black of space, something stirred. Hidden within the shadows of Jupiter's moons, an entire fleet of human warships waited. 10 massive Firestorm-class dreadnoughts, each the size of a city, floated silently. Smaller destroyers and carriers swarmed around them like sharks circling their prey. Unlike the sleek, ornate alien ships, these vessels were brutal and functional, built for one purpose: war. Their black hulls were coated in radar-absorbing material, making them nearly invisible to alien sensors. Their weapons were experimental, untested and terrifying. The lead ship, HFS Vengeance, rumbled to life as its engines powered up. Back aboard his shuttle, Kane stared at the stars as he left the council station. His voice was low, filled with quiet fury. "Let them come," he whispered. "They think we are prey. Soon, they will see the fire that burns inside us." As the shuttle slipped into faster-than-light travel, a final transmission from the council broadcast across the galaxy. High Lord Zirath's voice boomed. "The humans have defied the Union. All fleets converge on Earth. Burn their cities. Crush their armies. Show the galaxy what happens to those who dare resist." Billions of alien warships began to move. Across thousands of star systems, a tide of destruction gathered speed. The galaxy believed humanity was weak. Soon, it would learn how wrong they were. The final shot shows the Firestorm fleet's engines igniting one by one, casting a red glow across the void of space as Kane's voice echoes, "We will not kneel. We will not break. Humanity will rise in fire." The stars above Earth shimmered with a deadly light. Alien fleets were descending through the void, millions of warships forming a dark, living wall around the planet. The sky itself seemed to bend beneath their arrival. In orbit, the United Nations defense grid was overwhelmed within minutes. Human satellites and small defensive stations were vaporized like paper before a torch. Panic spread across the globe as alien transmissions filled every channel. High Lord Zirath's voice roared through the speakers of every human city. "People of Earth, kneel before the Galactic Union. Surrender and you will serve as tools for the greater good. Resist and you will be annihilated." His words were cold and certain, like the tolling of a funeral bell. In underground bunkers, world leaders watched helplessly as alien troop carriers began to enter the atmosphere. President Amina Chen's voice shook. "Admiral Kane, please tell me you have a plan." The holographic image of Admiral Elias Kane appeared above the war room table. His uniform was stained with travel wear, but his eyes burned with grim determination. "Madam President," Kane said slowly, "our enemies believe we are weak. Today, they will learn the truth." He turned to his officers, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "Activate Firestorm Protocol. All units, prepare to engage." In the cold void beyond Jupiter, space was silent. Then, without warning, the darkness itself seemed to peel away. 10 colossal Firestorm-class dreadnoughts emerged from cloaked positions, their black, angular hulls dwarfing the smaller destroyers and carriers around them. Each dreadnought bristled with weaponry, rail cannons longer than skyscrapers, missile bays designed to launch thousands of warheads in seconds, and a central weapon system so secret that even most of Kane's crew didn't know its full capabilities. The lead ship, HFS Vengeance, opened a secure channel to Kane's command center. "Fleet ready," Captain Rhea Solis reported, her voice steady despite the tension. "Awaiting your orders," Kane's jaw tightened. "Today the galaxy sees what humanity truly is. Firestorm Fleet engage at full burn. Target their command ships first. Show them no mercy." The engines of the massive ships roared to life, leaving fiery trails of plasma as the fleet surged forward like a storm unleashed. As the alien armada approached Earth, their scanners detected nothing. Their commanders laughed, certain humanity had no defense beyond primitive rockets and fighter jets. Then, space exploded into light. Thousands of human warships uncloaked at once, emerging from stealth positions near the Moon and Mars. The alien fleet froze for a split second in shock. "Impossible," one alien commander hissed. "Humans don't have FTL. They can't." His words were cut short as the Vengeance's rail cannons fired, launching hypervelocity slugs the size of tanks. The first volley tore through 3 alien cruisers before their shields even activated. Human destroyers swarmed like wolves, weaving through the enemy formation and bombarding troop carriers. On Earth's surface, Civilians watching the night sky gasped as streaks of light from the battle lit up the heavens. Kane's voice echoed through the fleet. "Push them back! Make them fear us!" The aliens fought back with overwhelming numbers. Massive warships, each capable of leveling a continent, turned their weapons on humanity's defenders. Explosions blossomed in space as dozens of human frigates were obliterated in seconds, but the Firestorm dreadnoughts held the line. Their black armor absorbed enemy fire, while their devastating plasma lances carved through alien capital ships like knives through paper. As the battle raged, Zirath watched from the bridge of his personal command vessel. His golden eyes narrowed as human ships destroyed his frontline carriers. "So, they were hiding their strength," he growled. "No matter. Crush them. Break their spirit. Leave nothing standing." An alien fleet commander tried to warn him. "High Lord, their technology is unlike anything we've seen. Their flagship, it has some kind of—" The screen went black as a colossal energy beam erupted from the HFS Vengeance. The blast sliced through an entire alien battleship formation, leaving nothing but drifting wreckage. Alien soldiers across the fleet fell silent in shock. For the first time, they felt fear. Kane leaned over his command table, his voice cold. "Firestorm Omega is active. All ships focus fire. Drive them out of our system." Humanity's fleet surged forward. Alien formations broke apart, retreating under the relentless assault. For a brief, shining moment, it seemed Earth might survive. Hours later, the battle ended. Alien wreckage drifted in orbit, burning as it fell into Earth's atmosphere. Millions of humans watched from the ground as flaming debris streaked across the sky like a meteor shower. Cheers erupted in cities around the world. Humanity had struck its first blow, but inside the HFS Vengeance's command center, Kane's face was grim. Thousands of human ships were gone. Entire crews had been lost. Captain Solis stepped forward. "Sir, our casualties are severe, but we did it." "We held them off." Kane didn't answer right away. His eyes were fixed on a glowing red marker on the holographic map. A massive alien fleet was gathering just beyond the edge of the system, far larger than the one they had just defeated. His voice was barely above a whisper. This wasn't their full strength. This was just their scouting force. In a distant star system, High Lord Zirath stood before a massive viewing window. Before him stretched the full might of the Galactic Union, millions of warships, titanic carriers, and city-sized dreadnoughts. The fleet stretched so far into space it blotted out the stars. Zirath's claws tightened on the railing as he bared his teeth in fury. "You dare defy me, humans? You dare resist?" His voice turned into a terrifying roar that echoed through every ship in his fleet. "Then you will suffer. Assemble the War Council. We march on Earth, this time no mercy." The alien fleet began to move, a tide of death and destruction that would reach Earth in days. Back aboard the HFS Vengeance, Kane received the first intercepted transmission. His heart sank as he realized what was coming. "They are bringing everything," he said, his voice trembling for the first time. "The real war begins now." The final shot shows the alien superfleet emerging from hyperspace. Countless glowing eyes lighting up the darkness like a living nightmare. The night sky above Earth was ablaze with light and terror. Billions of people stared upward as stars disappeared, swallowed by a massive shadow spreading across the heavens. It wasn't an eclipse. It was an army, a fleet so vast it covered entire constellations. In the darkness, alien ships descended like a storm of steel. Colossal carriers, each the size of a city, broke through Earth's atmosphere, leaving trails of fire as they fell. The air shook with the sound of alien engines. Inside a packed bunker beneath Washington, D.C., screens lit up with frantic red warnings. President Amina Chen gripped the edge of the command table as her voice trembled. How many ships are there?" A young radar officer swallowed hard. "Too many to count, ma'am. At least 30 million vessels, and more are still arriving." Around the room, the air was thick with fear. Everyone turned to the tall, calm figure standing near the central hologram, Admiral Elias Kane. His uniform was torn and scorched from the last battle, but his eyes were sharp, unbroken. "The first wave was a test," Kane said grimly. "This is the real invasion." In New York City, millions of terrified civilians fled through the streets. The sky above glowed red as alien troop carriers broke through the clouds. Giant metal pods slammed into the ground, hissing and cracking open like monstrous eggs. From inside, alien shock troopers poured out, towering reptilian warriors clad in dark armor, wielding plasma spears that melted concrete with a single strike. Behind them came horrifying genetic war beasts, creatures grown in alien laboratories, all claws, teeth, and unholy roars. Human soldiers opened fire, bullets rattling against alien shields. For a moment, it seemed like hope, until the first plasma blast ripped through a line of tanks, turning them into molten wreckage. On the ground, screams filled the night. The sky burned as cities crumbled. Far above the chaos, the Firestorm fleet moved into position. The 10 massive human dreadnoughts formed a defensive wall around Earth. On the bridge of the HFS Vengeance, Captain Rhea Solis barked orders. "All batteries open fire. Target their landing carriers." The black hull of the Vengeance glowed as plasma lances cut through the void, striking alien ships before they could reach the atmosphere. Human destroyers swarmed in tight formations, darting between the enemy like angry hornets. Admiral Kane stood at the central holotable, his voice cold and clear. "Focus on their command vessels. If we decapitate their leadership, their forces will scatter." The first alien battleship shattered under concentrated fire, but the victory was short-lived. A second wave of enemy dreadnoughts warped in behind the human fleet. The numbers were overwhelming. For every human ship there were 1,000 alien warships. The war was now planetary. From London to Tokyo to Johannesburg, human forces fought desperate street battles. Alien war beasts smashed through defensive barricades. Entire neighborhoods vanished under orbital bombardments. In Paris, a young lieutenant screamed into her communicator. "Command, we need backup now. We can't hold them." Her voice cut out in static as a massive alien walker crushed the building she was in. Even as Kane's fleet fought in orbit, civilians on the ground paid the price. Every second of delay meant thousands more dead. President Chen's voice came through the comms, heavy with despair. "Admiral Kane, we are losing every major city. If you can't stop them, there will be no Earth left to save." Kane's jaw tightened. There was one last weapon in the Firestorm project, Firestorm Omega, a planetary defense network so destructive that using it risked tearing Earth itself apart. He had sworn never to activate it unless absolutely necessary. But now there was no choice. He turned to Captain Solis. "Prepare to initiate Firestorm Omega. Link all dreadnoughts to the planetary core." Solis froze, eyes wide. "Sir, if we activate Omega, we might destroy the planet." Kane's voice was like ice. "If we don't, the aliens will destroy it anyway. Better they burn than we kneel." The Firestorm fleet spread out around Earth, forming a perfect ring. Massive cables extended from the dreadnoughts, linking them to hidden structures deep beneath Earth's surface, ancient facilities built in secret beneath the oceans and mountains. As the system powered up, a low, ominous hum filled the air across the planet. Animals panicked. Birds fled in massive flocks. Even the alien soldiers paused, confused by the strange vibration beneath their feet. Then, Earth itself began to glow. Crimson lines of energy cracked across the continents, forming vast glowing patterns like veins of molten fire. On his flagship, Zirith's eyes widened. What are they doing?" His science officer's voice trembled. "High Lord, the planet—" "It is not just a world. It is a weapon." Kane raised his hand and gave the final order. "Firestorm Omega! Engage!" The ground shook. From beneath Earth's oceans, titanic cannons erupted, rising like mountains of metal. They fired beams of concentrated plasma so bright they blinded sensors. Alien motherships were vaporized instantly. Entire fleets vanished in waves of fire. In seconds, what had been a one-sided invasion turned into a slaughter. Only now, it was the aliens who were dying by the millions. Across the galaxy, alien commanders watching the battle through live feeds froze in stunned silence. They had mocked humanity as primitive. Now they watched in horror as a single planet destroyed a fleet that had ruled the stars for centuries. The alien fleet was in chaos, but High Lord Xerath was not defeated. On the bridge of his massive dreadnought, his golden eyes blazed with rage. "So the humans hide a weapon of fire," he hissed. "Very well. Let them burn with it." He raised his clawed hand and gave a chilling command. "Summon the world-killer dreadnought. I will crush their planet myself." In deep space, something vast and ancient stirred, a ship so enormous it blotted out entire star systems. Its engines ignited with the force of a dying sun. Back on Earth, Kane stared at new readings on the holotable. His heart froze as the data scrolled past. "No, this can't be real," he whispered. "That ship. It's the size of a moon." The screen cut to black as an ominous shadow eclipsed the Firestorm fleet. The stars vanished as something impossibly massive descended from hyperspace. For a moment, there was silence across every human and alien comm channel. Even the raging battle paused as soldiers and civilians alike stared in shock. The world-killer dreadnought had arrived. It wasn't just a ship, it was a floating continent, a monstrous engine of destruction built to erase entire civilizations. Its surface bristled with weapons the size of mountains, and a glowing crimson maw pulsed at its core, like the beating heart of a god. From its bridge, High Lord Xerath gazed down upon Earth with cold, burning hatred. "So this is the world that dares defy me," he growled, his claws flexing against the metal railing. "Burn it! Burn everything!" The World Killer's main cannon powered up, drawing in energy from across the fleet. A crimson storm gathered at its core, swirling like a star about to go supernova. On the HFS Vengeance, alarms screamed as the sensors read impossible levels of power. Captain Rhea Solis turned to Admiral Elias Kane, her face pale. "Sir, if that thing fires, there won't be a planet left." Kane's knuckles whitened on the holotable. "Then we take it down first. All ships converge on the World Killer. Throw everything we have." As the World Killer charged its weapon, Earth itself began to respond. The Firestorm Omega network pulsed brighter, crimson energy surging through the glowing cracks across the planet's surface. Mountains rumbled, oceans boiled. The ground split open as hidden megastructures rose into the sky, ancient towers of metal that had been secretly constructed for decades. Civilians across the world watched in awe and terror as their planet transformed into a living weapon. On the alien bridge, Xerath's second-in-command stumbled backward in disbelief. "High Lord, the humans built their entire planet into a fortress." Xerath's lips curled into a snarl. "Let them try. I will crush their precious world beneath my claws." The Firestorm fleet surged forward, their engines blazing like red stars. Human dreadnoughts opened fire, their plasma lances stabbing through the void. For a moment, the World Killer seemed untouchable. Its shields absorbed the combined fire of all 10 human dreadnoughts without faltering. Alien escorts swarmed in, overwhelming the smaller human ships. Kane's voice rang out over the comms, sharp and unyielding. "Stay on target. Don't let up. If that monster fires, we're finished." Below the battle, the Firestorm Omega towers activated fully. Gigantic energy beams erupted from Earth's surface, slicing through alien capital ships like molten swords. Entire enemy formations disintegrated in blinding bursts of light. Human civilians hiding in shelters felt the ground tremble with each colossal shot, their fear mixing with a strange, fierce hope. In the ruins of New York, human soldiers launched a desperate counterattack. Alien war beasts roared as they were mowed down by tanks and plasma rifles. General Marcus Reyes, commanding from a mobile command vehicle, shouted into his headset, "Hold the line. The Firestorm is buying us time. Push them back into the sea." As the Omega towers fired into the sky, human forces rallied behind their terrifying power. For the first time since the invasion began, alien troops on the ground started to retreat, but victory was far from certain, even with the aliens faltering. The World Killer loomed above them all, its weapon nearing full charge. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Captain Solis stared at the readings in horror. "Sir, the Omega Network is overloading. If we keep pushing it, Earth's crust could collapse." Kane's expression was grim. "If we stop now, there will be no Earth left to save. Prepare to channel all remaining energy into a single Omega strike." She hesitated. "That could tear the planet apart." Kane turned slowly to face her, his voice like a blade. "Better a broken Earth than a conquered one. Do it." The Omega Towers glowed so brightly they were visible from the moon. Crimson lightning surged between them, connecting into a vast, burning lattice around the planet. The air itself screamed as energy built to unimaginable levels. From the ground, civilians knelt as the sky turned red. From orbit, alien soldiers screamed in terror as their scanners went blank. Kane raised his hand. "Firestorm Fleet, fire in unison with the Omega Towers. Target the World Killer's core." This ends now. A single command. A single, blinding moment of light. Every human ship and planetary cannon fired at once, their beams converging into a single colossal spear of energy. The Omega strike pierced the World Killer's shield, tearing through its massive body. The monstrous dreadnought screamed as its systems exploded one by one. Alien fleets scattered in panic. For the first time in history, a World Killer fell. Amid the chaos, High Lord Zirath's voice boomed across every channel. "You think this is victory, humans? You think this is the end?" The burning World Killer's hull split open. From its core, a smaller but deadlier command ship emerged, sleek, black and shaped like a talon. On the Vengeance, Kane's eyes widened. He escaped. The alien ship fired a devastating beam that destroyed 2 human dreadnoughts instantly. Zirath's image appeared on every human screen. His golden eyes burned with hatred. "I will personally tear your world apart, Kane. Watch as everything you love dies." The alien command ship plunged directly toward Earth's surface, trailing fire. It was heading for the Omega Network's central core, the very heart of the planet's defense system. If it destroyed the core, Earth would be defenseless. Kane's voice roared over the comms. "All units, pursue! Do not let him reach the surface." The Firestorm fleet dove after the alien warlord, but they were too slow. The final shot shows Zirath's ship piercing the atmosphere like a falling star, leaving a black scar in the sky. As the screen fades to black, Kane's voice echoes, "This battle isn't over. The worst is yet to come." The world trembled as High Lord Zirath's command ship tore through the atmosphere like a spear of burning obsidian. A trail of black fire split the sky, followed by a deafening boom that shattered windows across 3 continents. From cities and bunkers below, billions of terrified humans watched the falling ship, its massive form glowing red as it plunged toward the ground. Its target was clear, the central core of the Firestorm Omega network, buried deep beneath the Andes Mountains. If that core was destroyed, Earth's planetary defenses would collapse, and the last hope of humanity would vanish with it. On the HFS Vengeance, alarms screamed. Captain Rhea Solis slammed her fist onto the control console. "He's heading straight for Omega Core 1. If he reaches it, the entire network goes down." Admiral Elias Kane's voice was like ice. "We stop him, no matter the cost." Before the human fleet could respond, Zirath's ship unleashed its fury. A blinding crimson beam erupted from its front, striking the Andes with the force of a planetary impact. The ground rippled like water. Mountains shattered into molten fragments. Cities thousands of miles away shook as buildings collapsed and civilians screamed. Entire regions were plunged into darkness as power grids failed. In orbit, human soldiers watched in horror. For a moment, it seemed as if the entire world itself was splitting apart. "Firestorm Fleet, engage now!" Kane roared. The massive human dreadnoughts surged forward, plasma lances firing in brilliant arcs. Smaller destroyers swarmed around Zirath's ship, unleashing a relentless barrage, but Zirath had anticipated their move. Alien fighters emerged from hidden compartments, cutting through the human formations like blades. On the Vengeance's bridge, Captain Solis's face went pale. "He's baited us into a trap!" Kane's jaw tightened. "Hold the line. Focus fire on that ship!" The Firestorm fleet fought with desperate courage, but Xerath's vessel was unlike anything they'd ever faced. It moved with terrifying speed, its shields flaring as they absorbed direct hits that would have obliterated any other ship. Human dreadnoughts began to fall, their colossal frames breaking apart in brilliant explosions. While the battle raged in orbit, Earth itself was drowning in fire. Alien troops surged across every major continent, their numbers seemingly endless. With Omega Towers diverting all their power to orbital strikes, cities had no defense. In the ruins of New York, General Marcus Reyes barked orders over the chaos. "Fall back to the secondary line. Hold them at all costs." Alien war beasts ripped through barricades, their roars shaking the ground. Human tanks and aircraft fought bravely, but they were outmatched and outnumbered. Above the battlefield, massive alien troop carriers rained down new waves of soldiers. The sky itself seemed to bleed crimson. For civilians hiding underground, the sounds of war were deafening. Parents clutched their children, whispering prayers as the world above them burned. Back aboard the Vengeance, Kane's hands shook as he watched his fleet crumble. 3 Firestorm dreadnoughts were already gone. Dozens of destroyers had been lost. Captain Solis turned to him, her voice breaking. "Admiral, we can't hold this position. If we stay, we'll lose everything." Kane's face hardened. "If we retreat, Earth falls. There is no fallback plan. We stand or we die here." Suddenly a transmission cut through the noise, a deep guttural laugh that filled every channel. Xerath's face appeared, his golden eyes blazing with triumph. "Pitiful humans. Even with your planet as a weapon, you are nothing. Watch as I destroy your world piece by piece." On the screen, his ship unleashed another devastating beam, this time aimed directly at a cluster of Omega Towers in the Pacific Ocean. The water boiled away instantly, leaving a vast crater. 3 towers were annihilated. The entire Omega network flickered, its glow dimming. Solis gasped. "He's disabling the towers one by one. When the last falls, we're finished." Kane's voice turned grim. "Then we take the fight to him directly. Ready the strike teams." "I'm going aboard that ship myself." Every officer on the bridge froze. Solis stared at Kane in shock. "Admiral, that's suicide. His ship is crawling with troops. Even if you board it, you'll never get out alive." Kane's reply was calm, unshaken. "If Xerath dies, this invasion dies with him. I won't ask anyone to take that risk unless I'm willing to take it myself." He turned to the fleet-wide channel. "This is Elias Kane to all surviving Firestorm units. The enemy has brought his warlord to our doorstep. Now we bring the fight to his heart. Prepare a boarding strike." Across the fleet, cheers rose through the chaos. Even in the darkest hour, humanity's will to fight had not been broken. As Kane's boarding ship prepared to launch, disaster struck. Xerath's vessel released a pulse wave of dark energy, washing over the planet and its orbital defenses. Omega towers across the globe flickered and went dark. The massive crimson glow that had shielded Earth collapsed entirely. On the ground, alien commanders roared with victory as human defenses fell silent. The last remaining cities were left utterly exposed. President Chen's voice came through Kane's headset, filled with terror. "Admiral Kane, the towers are down. If you fail, there will be nothing left to protect us." Kane looked back at the planet, the blue and green world that had given birth to everything he loved. "Then I won't fail," he said, his voice like steel. Kane's strike ship launched from the Vengeance, streaking towards Xerath's massive vessel. Alien fighters swarmed around them, but the small, agile craft darted through the chaos. Inside the ship, Kane's elite Marines checked their weapons, their faces grim. One young soldier whispered, "We're never coming back from this, are we?" Kane answered without looking up, "No, but if we succeed, humanity will." As they approached the alien flagship, its colossal hangar doors opened like the jaws of a beast. The screen zoomed in on Kane's determined face as he gave the final order, "For Earth, for humanity, attack!" The strike ship vanished into the darkness of the enemy vessel, just as the screen cut to black. The alien flagship's colossal hangar swallowed Admiral Elias Kane's strike ship whole. Inside, shadows stretched across the titanic alien architecture. Strange crimson lights pulsed along the walls like the veins of a living creature. As the strike ship's ramp lowered, Kane and his elite Firestorm Marines poured out, weapons ready. The moment their boots hit the deck, siren-like howls erupted through the hangar. Dozens of alien warriors surged forward, towering creatures of muscle and armor, their forearms wielding energy blades that hissed and crackled with deadly light. Kane raised his plasma rifle and shouted, "For Earth! Hold the line!" The hangar exploded into chaos as humans and aliens clashed in a storm of fire and blood. While the battle raged, a chilling voice echoed through every corridor of the alien vessel. It was High Lord Zirath, his words dripping with cruel triumph. "Foolish humans, you dare invade my throne. Your courage will be your undoing." As he spoke, holograms lit up around Kane, showing images of burning human cities. London, Tokyo, and Rio de Janeiro, all consumed by alien fire. "Even now my forces sweep across your pathetic planet. When I am finished, there will be nothing left but ash." One of the Marines faltered, whispering in horror. He's winning down there." Kane's jaw tightened. "Not for long. Stay focused. If we take him out, this war ends." Far below, Earth was collapsing into chaos. With the Omega network offline, alien forces struck with overwhelming power. Cities that had held out for weeks fell in hours. Civilians were slaughtered in the streets, while human armies retreated in desperation. General Marcus Reyes, blood running down his forehead, shouted over the radio amid the ruins of Washington. "DC, we need those towers back online, Kane. If you fail, there won't be a planet left to save." In a bunker deep beneath Beijing, President Chen addressed the scattered remnants of humanity. "We will endure. No matter what happens up there, we will fight to the last breath." But even as she spoke, explosions rumbled above. The ceiling trembled, dust falling like snow. The end was drawing near. Inside the alien flagship, Kane's team pressed deeper into the vessel. The ship's interior was a labyrinth of shifting corridors, alive with strange organic machinery. Walls twisted and reformed, trying to trap the humans. Marines were dragged screaming into the darkness by living tendrils that sprouted from the floors. Captain Solus's voice came through Kane's earpiece from the orbiting HFS Vengeance. "Admiral, the ship is... It's changing shape. It's like it's alive." Kane's eyes narrowed. "Then we kill it. Keep moving." At every turn, alien warriors attacked with relentless ferocity. The Marines fought like demons, their rifles blazing, but their numbers dwindled. For every alien they killed, 2 more appeared. When they finally reached a massive circular chamber, only half the strike team remained. At the center of the chamber stood High Lord Zirath, towering over all others. His black and crimson armor shimmered like liquid fire. His 4 golden eyes glared with hatred and arrogance. Behind him, an enormous pulsating crystal connected to the ship's core, the source of its power. Zirath's claws scraped against the floor as he stepped forward. "Elias Kane," he hissed, "I have crushed 1,000 species, yet none have dared to defy me like you. I will savor tearing your world apart." Kane didn't flinch. "You should have destroyed us when you had the chance." "Destroyed you?" Zirath laughed, the sound echoing like thunder. "I need your planet alive, to forge a new fleet from its molten bones." The alien warlord raised a massive warblade, its edge glowing with unholy energy. "Now kneel before your conqueror." The chamber erupted in violence. Kane charged forward, his Marines laying down suppressing fire. Blasts of plasma struck Zirath's armor, but he shrugged them off like rain. With a single swing of his warblade, he cut 2 Marines in half. Their screams cut short by the sizzle of vaporized flesh. Kane leapt, driving his plasma bayonet into Zirath's chest, but the alien warlord caught the blade with his bare hand and hurled Kane across the room like a rag doll. The Admiral slammed into a wall, pain exploding through his body. His vision blurred, but he forced himself to stand. "I didn't come here to die, monster. I came here to kill you." While the duel raged, one surviving Marine, Corporal Vega, noticed the glowing crystal behind Zirath. "Admiral! That crystal, it's the ship's brain. If we destroy it, the whole thing might go down." Kane gritted his teeth as he dodged a sweeping strike. "Do it!" Vega sprinted toward the crystal, but Zirath saw him coming. With terrifying speed, the alien warlord hurled a spear of energy straight through Vega's chest. The Marine fell, lifeless, only inches from the crystal. Zirath roared with fury. "Your kind will never touch the heart of my vessel." Kane's rage ignited like a firestorm. He grabbed a fallen rifle and unloaded it point-blank into Zirath's face. The alien staggered, blinded temporarily by the blasts. Seizing the moment, Kane dove for Vega's explosives and slammed them onto the crystal. Alarms immediately began to scream. The ship's walls writhed violently, like a living creature in agony. Captain Solis's panicked voice came over the comms. "Admiral! What did you do? The ship's core is overloading." Kane, panting and bloodied, replied, "Bought us a fighting chance. Now get ready to hit him with everything you've got." The crystal pulsed wildly, cracks spreading across its surface. The alien flagship began to tilt and shake, massive chunks of debris breaking away. Zirath, his face scorched but unbroken, bellowed in rage. "If my ship dies, it will take your entire world with it." He lunged at Kane, both warriors colliding in a final desperate struggle. Outside, the human fleet saw the alien vessel beginning to implode, its dark energy bleeding into space. Solis screamed into her headset, "Admiral Kane! Get out of there now!" But the last thing they saw before the chamber was engulfed in blinding light was Kane grappling with Zirath atop the burning crystal, shouting, "For Earth!" The screen cuts to black with a single ominous sound, the detonation of the core. The alien flagship writhed like a living beast in its death throes. Metallic tendrils snapped and whipped wildly as the ship's core cracked open, bleeding crimson energy into space. Explosions rippled outward, shaking the entire structure as though it were a collapsing star. Amidst the chaos, Admiral Elias Kane and High Lord Zirath grappled atop the burning crystal at the heart of the ship. Their battle was no longer just about victory. It was about the fate of Earth itself. Zirath roared, his golden eyes blazing with hatred. "If I die, your world dies with me." Kane, battered and bleeding, forced himself to his feet, gripping a broken plasma bayonet. "Then I'll make sure you go first." As the core began to overload, alarms blared through every deck. Captain Rhea Solis, commanding from the HFS Vengeance, stared at her screen in horror. "Admiral, the readings are spiking off the charts. If that core detonates, it will trigger a chain reaction. The blast could tear Earth's crust apart. On Earth's surface, civilians looked to the sky as a black sun seemed to form above the clouds. The alien flagship's glow turned the night into a crimson dawn. In the Andes Mountains, General Marcus Reyes shouted over the comms amid collapsing defenses, "Kane! Whatever you're doing up there, do it fast. Alien forces are pushing us past the breaking point." Kane gritted his teeth, his eyes locked on Zirath. "One way or another, this ends now." The chamber burned with molten light as the two warriors clashed. Zirath's warblade, longer than Kane was tall, swept through the air with terrifying speed. Kane dodged narrowly, feeling the searing heat of the blade pass inches from his face. Each strike shook the crystal beneath their feet. Chunks of it were breaking away, falling into the abyss below. "You are strong, human," Zirath hissed, his voice like thunder. "But strength means nothing against destiny. Your species was born to serve." Kane spat blood, his rage boiling over. "We weren't born to serve, we were born to fight." With a desperate cry, he lunged forward, plunging his bayonet into a gap in Zirath's armor. The alien warlord howled, grabbing Kane by the throat and lifting him into the air. "Pathetic creature, even now you think you can defeat me." Meanwhile, the Firestorm fleet battled desperately in orbit. Human dreadnoughts, their hulls cracked and burning, encircled the alien reinforcements. Captain Solis barked orders over the fleet-wide channel. "All remaining ships, focus fire on enemy fighters. Buy Kane the time he needs." On the ground, Reyes' forces launched a final counterattack in the ruins of Washington. DC human soldiers charged through fire and rubble, shouting defiant war cries as they pushed back alien troops. A young private raised a tattered Earth flag amid the carnage. For a moment, even in the darkest hour, hope flickered. As Kane struggled in Zirath's grip, his eyes darted to the unstable core. An idea, dangerous and reckless, flashed through his mind. "If I can't kill you," Kane rasped, barely able to speak, "then I'll take you with me." He jammed a stolen alien detonator into the cracked surface of the crystal. Instantly, the entire chamber screamed with violent energy. Captain Solis saw the readings spike, and her face went pale. "Admiral, what are you doing?" Kane's voice came through the comms, steady and resolute. "Ending this war. Firestorm fleet, pull back now!" Zirath realized too late what Kane had done. "No, you would sacrifice your own planet just to stop me." Kane locked eyes with him. "I'd sacrifice everything for humanity." Summoning every ounce of strength, Kane drove the bayonet deep into Zirath's chest. The alien warlord staggered back, roaring in fury as crimson blood sprayed across the crystal. With a final, guttural scream, Kane hurled him into the very heart of the core. The crystal imploded, sucking Zirath into its center. For one blinding moment, the entire ship seemed to freeze. Then it erupted. The explosion tore through the flagship, ripping it apart from the inside. Giant shards of alien metal spun into space as shockwaves rocked the human fleet. On the Vengeance's bridge, Solis gripped her console. "Kane, respond! Where are you?" Through the static, a faint voice replied, "I'm still here. Get me out of this hell." Solis's eyes widened. "Lock onto his signal. Launch rescue craft now." A small escape pod, barely intact, burst free from the wreckage. Inside, Kane slumped against the seat, battered but alive. With Zirath dead, the alien forces began to falter. On Earth's surface, alien commanders screamed in confusion as their armies broke ranks. General Reyes seized the moment. "All units push forward. Drive them off our planet." Humanity surged with renewed fury. Across the globe, alien troops were slaughtered or forced into retreat. For the first time since the war began, Earth fought not to survive, but to win. With Zirath dead, the alien forces began to falter. On Earth's surface, alien commanders screamed in confusion as their armies broke ranks. General Reyes seized the moment. "All units push forward. Drive them off our planet." Humanity surged with renewed fury. Across the globe, alien troops were slaughtered or forced into retreat. For the first time since the war began, Earth fought not to survive, but to win. As the humans celebrated their hard-won victory, Solis studied the wreckage of the alien fleet. Her brow furrowed in unease. "Admiral, we've intercepted fragments of enemy transmissions. They mention a council and a fleet 10 times larger than what we just faced." Kane, leaning heavily on a medic, clenched his fists. Zirath wasn't the end. He was just the beginning. Deep in a distant galaxy, a massive alien council chamber loomed, filled with shadowy figures. A hologram of Zirath's destruction flickered above them. One alien elder hissed, "So, humanity defied us. They destroyed our warlord." Another replied coldly, "Then we shall bring the full weight of the Imperium Armada upon them. Let their world burn to ash." As their fleets began to mobilize, millions of ships darkening the stars, the camera zoomed back to Earth. Kane stared up at the night sky, knowing the storm that was coming. "The real war," he whispered, "is about to begin." The stars above Earth were blotted out by shadows. One by one, massive alien warships emerged from hyperspace, so many that their combined presence dimmed the sun itself. Each vessel was larger than the world-killer dreadnought Zirath had commanded. Together, they formed an unstoppable armada, stretching from horizon to horizon in space. On Earth, terrified civilians stared upward as night fell at midday. In underground bunkers, alarms screamed. Children cried. Soldiers prepared for what seemed like the end of the world. Admiral Elias Kane stood on the bridge of the HFS Vengeance, staring at the impossible sight before him. His body was battered, his uniform torn, but his eyes burned with defiance. "So this is the Imperium Armada," Kane growled. "They think Earth will fall like every other world. Let's prove them wrong." A vast holographic projection appeared above Earth, displaying the image of a shadowy alien figure, the Supreme Counselor of the Imperium. "Humans of Earth," the figure's voice echoed, cold and pitiless. "You're defiant, vermin. Your victory over Zerath is meaningless. Submit now, and your species will be spared annihilation." Kane stepped forward, glaring at the image. "This is Admiral Elias Kane of the Firestorm fleet. We don't kneel. We don't surrender. Come and take our world if you dare." The alien counselor's expression twisted into fury. "So be it. Burn them all." The Armada opened fire, and the final battle began. Massive crimson beams rained down from the alien fleet, tearing through Earth's atmosphere. Entire cities were incinerated in seconds. The oceans boiled. Mountain ranges split apart. On the surface, General Marcus Reyes shouted orders as alien landing craft descended. "Fall back to the shield bunkers. Keep them away from the Omega cores." Beneath the Andes Mountains, technicians worked frantically to bring the Omega network back online. The towers, damaged by Zerath's attack, flickered weakly. President Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "Kane, the towers are only at 40%. If they fire now, the planet's crust could collapse." Kane's reply was ironclad. "If they don't fire, there won't be a planet. Get me those towers, Chen." Kane turned to Captain Riasolis. "All Firestorm ships form a wall around Earth. By the Omega network time, no matter the cost." The human fleet surged forward, engines blazing. Their dreadnoughts unleashed torrents of plasma fire, lighting up space like a second sunrise. But the Imperium Armada was overwhelming. Human ships were obliterated in waves, their crews dying with screams that echoed through the comm channels. "Vengeance to all units," Solis shouted, her voice breaking. "Hold the line! For Earth!" The humans fought with unmatched courage, but their numbers dwindled rapidly. One by one, the defensive formations shattered under the relentless alien assault. Just as the last human line was about to break, the Omega network roared to life. Crimson beams erupted from Earth's surface, piercing the clouds and striking the alien fleet. Entire enemy capital ships disintegrated instantly, their hulks falling like burning meteors into the ocean. The glow from the towers lit up the night sky, turning fear into awe. On the ground, civilians cheered through their tears. For the first time, humanity was not just surviving, they were winning. General Reyes slammed his fist into the air. "The Firestorm lives! Push them back!" But the Imperium was not finished. From the center of their fleet emerged a colossal living warship, a creature the size of a moon. Its body was a writhing mass of tendrils and eyes, pulsing with black energy. Kane's senses screamed warnings as the monstrous ship charged its main weapon. "What the hell is that thing?" Solis gasped. "Their doomsday weapon," Kane said grimly. "If it fires, Earth is gone." The creature unleashed a devastating pulse that shut down half the Omega towers instantly. Crimson beams faltered. Human forces wavered. "Admiral!" President Chen cried through the comms. "If that thing fires again, the network will collapse." Kane stared at the creature, determination burning in his eyes. "Then we take it out, up close." Kane gave his last order. "All remaining ships focus everything on that monster. If you have one shot left, make it count." The Vengeance led the charge, weaving through enemy fire as human ships sacrificed themselves to clear a path. At the same time, the Omega towers began to overload, channeling every ounce of power they had left into a single, catastrophic strike. The ground shook so violently that entire continents cracked. Volcanoes erupted. Tidal waves rose hundreds of feet high. Technicians screamed warnings. "If they fire now, the planet won't survive." President Chen's voice broke over the comms. "Do it anyway." As Kane's ship reached point-blank range, the monstrous alien warship opened its titanic maw, preparing to fire. "Now," Kane roared. "Omega towers, fire!" A blinding crimson spear of energy erupted from Earth's surface, combining with the Vengeance's final barrage. The combined strike pierced the creature's core, detonating it from within. The explosion was so massive it tore a rift in space, sucking enemy vessels into a swirling void. The Imperium Armada shattered, but Earth paid the price. Massive earthquakes racked the planet. Oceans boiled. Entire cities crumbled into ash. When the smoke cleared, the skies were empty. The Imperium Armada was gone. Only wreckage remained, drifting silently through orbit. On the Vengeance, survivors cheered weakly, their tears mixing with blood and soot. General Reyes's battered voice came over the comms. Earth lives. We held the line. In the ruins of the Andes complex, President Chen wept openly. Billions were dead, but humanity had survived the impossible. Far across the galaxy, in the shadowed-on Earth, amidst the smoking ruins, Admiral Kane stood with Solis and Reyes, gazing at the battered planet. The once blue world was scarred, its surface glowing faintly crimson, where the Omega network still pulsed. Solis whispered, "We won." But at what cost? Kane's voice was quiet but unbreakable. "We paid the price, and we'll rebuild. Humanity isn't weak. We never were." He turned to the sky, now clear and filled with stars. "Let the galaxy come. We are ready." The camera zoomed out, showing Earth surrounded by wreckage and glowing Omega towers, a beacon of defiance in a hostile universe. As the screen fades to black, a single message appears. This is not the end. The Firestorm will rise again. Chamber of the Alien Council, the surviving rulers of the Imperium, watched the defeat in cold silence. "So," one elder hissed, "the humans destroyed our armada. Perhaps we underestimated them." Another leaned forward, its many eyes glowing. "They have proven themselves dangerous. They must be destroyed before they rise any further." But a third counselor spoke softly, almost fearfully. "Or they may be the future. The firestorm they unleashed could burn even us." The chamber erupted in chaos as factions argued, foreshadowing a greater war to come.